Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and happy 1 year anniversary. Shout out to last year when we thought the panorama would literally last 2 weeks and we'd go back to living our best life. We joke texted the guy we don't like and now we're stuck in a relationship with him. Love that for us. Anyway, my taste is still expensive, hasn't gotten the memo that I'm still broke as ever, and I've been lusting over this CULT GAIA Serita dress that retails for $458. I will never have that kind of money in my life, but I can definitely DIY a similar dress from a bedsheet. So I thrifted a bedsheet for $7 and I made this cute dress. Honestly, CULT GAIA is onto something with this design. It's so sexy. It just makes you feel so good. The cutout, the cleavage, the figure hugging. I love it. I love it so much. And I'm gonna say my fiance loves it too. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So in case you have a bedsheet that gives you bad memories, that you cry when you look at, grab it and let's make a sexy dress to binge watch murder documentaries in. So first things first, I'm going to ruin this bedsheet's life by seam ripping off the elastic. My bedsheet was a fitted bedsheet and she had elastic all around and I had to seam rip her out because I wanted to reuse the elastic maybe for another project. But this elastic needed quite a bit of convincing for her to leave the relationship. She was really in there. I had to bring out my thread cutters. I really had to wiggle her out of this relationship. She really had to leave, or else she wasn't going to be my friend no more because this bedsheet was toxic. Anyway, here she is. She left. She's now in a happier, better place in a new relationship. She's even engaged. Like, that's how much better the relationship is for her now. And now it's time to seam rip the form-fitted part of the bed sheet. So this is a part that goes over your mattress, the one that gives you an actual headache when you're making your bed. Yeah, we're seam ripping it off just to create space in the fabric and make sure everyone is in line. No one's looking at me funny, and if they do, they will catch these hands. So I also did the same thing on the other side, seam ripped it away, and this took no time at all. And once that was done, I folded my bed sheet on top of each other. Just make sure you have 2 layers of fabric, and then take your favorite dress that never disappoints you, unlike your ex-boyfriend, and fold her in half. She's about to be your template, so make sure you use a dress you like. My dress had quite a bit of stretch to it and I love how she fits. She fits like a glove, baby, and that's exactly what I wanted with this dress. So now I'm going to start tracing from underneath the armpit, and this is because you don't need the top bit of the dress, so you could even use a sleeveless dress. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you're tracing from underneath the armpit and go all the way lengthwise. But my dress was shorter than I needed, so I stopped in my tracks, clipped the fabric together just to make sure she wasn't testing me and blocking my blessings. And once everything was clipped together, I extended the length of my dress. So I decided 45 inches was long enough for me, and you can make this longer. I actually do wish I'd made my dress much longer. You'd rather have more fabric than have less, so take it from me, just make it much longer than you think you need. Sometimes you don't know what you need, and that's okay. So I straightened off the bottom at 45 inches long, and this is what the shape looks like at this point. You're going to continue clipping. I didn't want my fabric slipping and sliding and dancing about. This isn't a disco, baby. We're in the middle of a paradigm. So I also drew a straight line across the top, and now I'm going to cut out this piece of fabric. So this is going to be our front bit. Make sure your fabric is on a fold, because when you open this up, it's going to open up and be a complete front piece. Unless you want to have half a front piece, make sure your fabric is on a fold. So once everything was nice and cut out, we now have our beautiful front piece, and it's now time to finesse her. She is cute and it's nothing personal. It's just that we need to change her entire personality. So I'm marking 1.5 inches from one side and then 4.5 inches on the other side, and this is going to be the points that I will join to make my curve. So I have no method to this. I just finessed it, and honestly I kept putting the piece on my body and seeing how much fabric I could possibly take out without exposing everything, and I went ham. And after I was satisfied with my curve, I cut it out, and now your front piece is magical. So you're going to take out one clip that's standing in your way and blocking your blessings. We don't need that in 2020 0.2, and I'm going to fold the top bit down because I want to use this fabric as a template to cut out the back, and the back isn't going to have that curved bit, so we just need this to be flat and in check, and that's what I did. I put it on top of my bed sheet. Again, the bed sheet is on a fold, so I'm going to be cutting another piece that's going to open up to be the back. Sounds confusing, but I promise you it makes perfect sense when you're doing it. So I just outlined the shape of this piece, and you can see the back bit will be looking super cute. I was talking to her, making sure she will be talking to her lawyers because $600 stimulus check is not enough, Jessica. So I made sure that she was fighting for her rights. And this is a back piece. She looks cute. And now it's time to open her up in all her glory. So you see what I was talking about? It has to be on a fold for it to be a complete piece. If you didn't cut it on a fold, just leave the chat right now because your vibes are not it. So now I'm putting the pieces right sides together and I'm pinning them in place. And we're joining these two pieces together just to make sure they're coordinating and accepting each other, because in the middle of a Panasonic you can't be having beef with everyone. You need to have some friends. Well, not me, but yeah. So I pinned both sides, made sure everyone was beautiful, and now you're going to sew all along the pins using a zigzag stitch just to make sure everything can stretch and accommodate you. And if you're using non-stretchy fabric, make sure you use a straight stitch or whatever stitch you fancy. Honestly, at this point, there's no rules in society. We're all living in a simulation. Every day is March 2020, and this is our life now. So at the sewing machine, I sewed my zigzag stitch, and it was a bit of a foreign concept having a friend as real as a zigzag stitch. She's really been there for me, and if you need her to stretch from here to Timbuktu, she will do that for you. And look at her. She looks so glorious, so beautiful, and she will stretch to the ends of the earth if she needs to. So here's a piece. That's literally all you need to do for your bottom piece. And now it's time to make her look good. We need her to stop showing up to work in sweatpants. So we're gonna bind the top and make her look cute. So all I'm doing is I'm trying to carve out a 2-inch wide piece. So I'm going to mark 2 inches all the way down. You just saw me draw a straight line, and this line was anything but straight, but I just wanted to have a semblance of reality, just to think I knew what I was doing, and I'm just finessing my way. We all are at this point. No one knows what's happening. So my strip was 41 inches long and 2 inches wide, and we're going to bind the top of the dress. So the dress is the wrong side up, and the binding piece is the wrong side up, and I'm pinning the edges together. And I want you to pay close attention to this because we're going to be doing this all over the dress. This binding technique is going to become so familiar with you, just like your Amazon driver is with your house. Every time he has to deliver a package to your house, he knows, oh my God, this house again. That's how familiar you're going to be with this binding, okay? So make sure you pay attention. So just pin the entire top edge, and you're going to sew along the entire top edge. Remember, the dress is the wrong side up and the binding is the wrong side up. It will all make sense in a second, just trust me. So now I'm just showing you all the bits to sew, and we're going to sew our hearts away, and this just gives a dress a very finished and professional look. Looks like you have $458 in your bank account. And to sew this down, you're going to use a triple straight stitch. So this is not a straight stitch, it's a triple straight stitch. It's a straight stitch, but like a rich auntie who brings food to the barbecue for the cousins. Like, she is an elevated straight stitch. And basically what this stitch does is it sews forward once, backward once, and then forward again. So she really makes sure she's got your back. No one's going to be disrespecting you or talking back to you when the triple straight stitch is in the building. Like, this stitch is so amazing. She allows for stretch, and she looks just like a straight stitch except stronger. She has been the greatest discovery of my quarantine life. I love her so much. And here's everything sewn down. So you can see we sewed along the edge of the binding, and now it's time to turn the dress the right way out. And you see the binding is now the wrong way up. So now it's time to finesse this and make her look cute for the Zoom meeting. Not everyday sweatpants. Sometimes you can pull out those jeans. Okay, so I'm just folding in that binding twice and pinning it in place. And remember, the dress is now the right side up up, and we're just creating that beautiful, neat, professional binding fit for a queen, because you are a queen, and I hope you don't forget that. So I was here for a hot second, and you're going to get real familiar with this binding. She's going to know you start drinking your wine on a Wednesday morning in the Zoom meeting, but she's going to keep that secret because it's none of her business. She's just here to bind, and that's it. She literally needs to not do anything else. So I really hope you're not confused by this. I think this is just easier when you do it. And at some point when you've been doing it for so long, the fabric automatically just folds within itself. And all you need to do is shush it in place and pin it. And this is so easy, but a bit time consuming because you have to do it all around the top of your dress. So make sure you take your time with this. You want it to look really nice and neat. Don't rush it, just like you shouldn't rush that relationship with that guy from Tinder. Sis, after watching so many murder documentaries, you better be cautious, okay? So after we're done pinning, we're going to sew along the bottom of the binding, and we are going to use our beautiful triple straight stitch. And here I'm just showing you everywhere you need to sew. I know sometimes we can get confused if you don't see the full picture. So just sew along the pins and you will be fine. The pins will be your guide and everything will work out. And I'm using the same triple straight stitch, and I definitely took my sweet time doing this. And you're going to go all around. Make sure you rely on her and tell her that she's beautiful, because she's about to give you the best dress of your life. So after doing this for a really long time and several cups of coffee, here we are. The binding is now complete. She thought the engagement was a fun bit. Now she actually has to plan the wedding. So she will have a bit of a breakdown. We're going to give her time to rest. But before we do that, we're going to cut off the excess binding. She betrayed you. You don't want to see her ever again. And that's completely understandable. And now our bottom piece is ready and beautiful, and you can set her aside and work on the top bit. So now for the top bit, you're going to take the bra you save for special occasions. Today is a special occasion, so bring her out. And you're going to trace out the shape. And this bra fits me exactly how I wanted the top of the dress to fit me. So just get something you love the fit of and trace the shape. And make sure you do this all around the bra. And once that's done, get rid of the bra. She is not welcome anymore. And then add in 1/2 inch of seam allowance all around half of your drawn out shape. So we're going to use half because we need to fold this and have pieces that are equal. So once you've only traced out half of it, cut out the shape you require. And you can see I'm stopping dead in the middle and then cutting out the top bit. And once I'm done doing this, I'm going to fold this piece in half. And this is going to help us achieve a super symmetrical piece. And no one's gonna know we cut up our ex's bed sheets, because I think this warrants seeing a therapist. So we're just going to keep that to ourselves. So you're going to cut out the second half and take your time with this. This is literally so easy. It's like taking candy from a baby. Though you probably shouldn't do that, that's mean. So once you've cut out this piece, you have a beautiful piece, and now it's time to use this as a template to cut out a second piece. Yes, you're going to need 2 pieces. It just provides more coverage, and you can actually not wear a bra with this dress, which is actually pretty cool. So now when you have the 2 pieces, make sure you put them right sides kissing, and you will pin all around. So this is going to help us just sew in a straight line, and the sewing will look good, and everyone will know that this was made by CULT GAIA and not by literally someone in their bedroom. So you're going to sew all around the pins, and I just used my zigzag stitch for this. The zigzag stitch is there for you when you need her. Like, I am in love with the triple straight stitch, but the zigzag stitch, I know I can always count on her. And how you sew this piece is when you get to a corner bit, just lift your presser foot, turn your fabric around the right way, put your presser foot back down, and continue sewing. And you will literally do this all around until you're done sewing this piece. And once you're done sewing, here is the fabulous piece. And look at that, the zigzag stitch is showing you she's still still got it. And now you're going to cut off the excess seam allowance. This is going to help turning the fabric the right way out, and it's going to make it so easy. You won't have so much bulk around your seam, and you're going to have this beautiful piece. Turn her the right way out, poke out the corners if you have to, and you should have a gorgeous piece that looks like this. So this is basically your front bit, and we need to make a back bit. So I recorded this before sewing the front bit in case you're wondering why the front bit still has pins, and I just used the sides to mark out how much I would need for the back piece. And once I had the 4 points, I joined them all together into one family. They are going to get along because they live in the same house. They can't be arguing all the time. This panoramic has ruined a lot of relationships, and I was not going to let my back pieces be a consequence of that too. So I joined everything together. They were happy. It was a cute trapezium shape. You're going to cut out 2 pieces. Mine were far from equal, but they're going to respect and love each other. I don't care how they make it work. They have to. So I put the right sides together, and I'm going to pin all around except the bottom bit. Make sure you leave the bottom open. That way you can turn this the right way out and everything will be cute. So once everything is nice and pinned, you're going to sew your cute zigzag stitch. Show her that she still matters. Treat her like Harry treats Meghan. Support the zigzag stitch and love her. And you're going to trim off the excess seam allowance, turn this piece the right way out, and once you've done that, you have a cute back piece, and now you're ready to join the front and the back piece together forever. So I'm going to put this the right side up, and the right sides are kissing at this point because you sew on the wrong side of the fabric. And I pinned the sides together, and you're going to sew a zigzag stitch along both sides, and this is going to join them together forever. There's nothing you can do at this point. The marriage is happening. So here's a cute zigzag stitch. I was just treating her nice. She was really coming through for me, and I appreciated her efforts. So since the bottom of my top was uneven, I cut off the excess fabric to even her out. She had to leave the Zoom meeting. Her vibes were so off. So then I cut out a binding that was 20 inches long and 2 inches wide, and I'm going to use this to bind the middle of my top. So the top is the wrong side up and the binding is the wrong side up. I'm basically joining the right side of the binding to the wrong side of the top. And you can see me pin. If you need to pause this to understand, feel free to do so, but I promise you it's super easy once you do it. And I pinned all the way around, and once the last pin was in, I made sure to get rid of the excess fabric. She was killing my vibe, sis. She had to go. And then I was going to sew my straight stitch along the pinned edge. So I did this off camera, and here is a binding piece attached. Turn your top the right way up and then mark the midpoint of your binding. So some people may come for me for this method, but I found it easiest. I snipped a tiny slit where I drew the mark, and this is going to help my binding lay super flat, and it's going to be super cute. So to make the binding, we're going to do this the same way we did it before. Just fold in your fabric twice and pin it in place. Remember, the fabric is now the right side up, and we're creating the binding that will go at the top. So fold in your fabric twice and make sure she's really in there. The seam allowance is tucked in. Pin everything in place, and this will make it a breeze to sew. It's going to be so beautiful when you top stitch everything. So once you've pinned both sides, you're going to top stitch along the bottom edge, the open edge rather, and you're going to use your triple straight stitch. And once you've done that, look at how beautiful and neat that looks. Chop off the excess fabric. She betrayed you and she has to suffer for her mistakes. Well, actually we're grown now, so we have to talk to her. So talk to her and then cut her off. That's how we do it. And look at that beautiful stitch. If she shows up looking this good to my wedding, she's uninvited. So now we're going to cut out a strip that's 2 inches wide and 67 inches long, and this is the mother of all bindings. This is a binding that will improve your credit score and help you get a mortgage, so you better pay attention. And I'm marking 15 inches on this binding. This is going to be the length of my strap. So that hanging bit above the 15 inches, this is going to be my strap, and I'm going to start pinning the binding from that point. So the fabric is the wrong side up, the binding is the wrong side up, and I'm just pinning along the edge. We've been doing this, and if you haven't been paying attention, how have you survived this far? Okay, I'm kidding. Just pay attention, okay? We're pinning the edge of the binding to the edge of the fabric and living our best life because we cut off our toxic exes and we're not taking them back, even if they text us at 2 a.m. You up? No, I am sleeping, Jake. Can you respect that? Anyway, once the binding was bound, it was now time to mark a point. This would make it easy for me to measure my 15 inches accurately. And I measured 15 inches. Again, this is for my strap length. If you want to make this longer or shorter, please feel free to do so. This is a DIY. No one's holding you hostage and making you use the same measurements, okay? You do what you feel is best for you. So now it's time to sew all around the pinned edge, and this is going to join the binding onto the wrong side of your fabric. And you're going to use a triple straight stitch, nothing special. We've been doing this. We're now familiar with her. She's part of the family. She can come over anytime and eat the food in my fridge. That's how loyal I am to this triple straight stitch. So once everything is nice and sewn, turn your fabric the right side up, and then now finish off your binding same way we've been doing it. Fold in the fabric twice, make sure it's laying super flat, pin it in place, and she's now part of the family. She is stuck with us for life. She can't go nowhere, and she knows that. So just fold in your fabric. I promise you, the more you do this, you're going to get more familiar with it, and you can even do it as you close your eyes and daydream about Zac Efron. What's not to love about that? I swear that man is getting finer as he ages. Anyway, when I got to the strap bit, it just folded within itself, and all I had to do was make sure the fabric was laying flat, pin it in place, and that was basically my only job. At this point, you can bring out the murder mystery and watch it as you do this. It is considered self-care, and no one can tell me otherwise. And continue to pin your heart away, and once everything is nice and pinned, you're going to sew along the bottom of your binding to 1, close up your strap, and 2, attach your binding to your top. This is going to give you such a professional finish. You're going to question if you're actually the one who sewed this. Like, it's going to be that good. Trust me on this. So at the sewing machine, you know the drill. Triple straight stitch is our best friend. We now have a best friend. Can you believe that? After all the years of being friendless, we have someone we can rely on, and this is a feeling I need to get used to. So I sewed the triple straight stitch for a while. I got to know her pretty good, and she's actually pretty cool. She allows for you to stretch and be yourself, and she still accepts you and loves you, and we love that in a friend. So after sewing this for a while, my sewing was done and my top looked fabulous. Look at that beauty. And you're going to turn her the wrong side up. First of all, I have to show off that binding. What am I talking about? Look at that. This deserves to win an Oscar. So when the top is the wrong side up, at the back, I'm going to mark 3.5 inches, and this is going to be where my straps will be placed. You can vary this if you want your straps to be closer together or wider apart. It's totally up to you. 3.5 was perfect for me. And I pinned the strap to the back at those points, and make sure your strap isn't twisted, because if it is twisted, girl, and you have to undo this, do not talk to me or my son. It's actually really problematic. So once you've sewn your triple straight stitch and attached your straps to the back, it's now time to hem the bottom of this top. We have to make her look good, okay? So just fold in the fabric once and pin it in place, and you will do this all around the bottom edge. Don't let anything deter you from your goal of having a bomb-ass dress. So once you've pinned everything, make sure you have pinned every nook and cranny, and you're going to sew a triple straight stitch all the way around. And I'm just showing you a bit of this. It's literally the same thing we've been doing. We can rely on the triple straight stitch, and if you don't trust her at this point, you have trust issues and you need to actually see someone for that. But I'm not one to judge. So after I was done sewing my triple straight stitch, look at that hem. She is looking so good. She is showing up. She's actually not wearing bummy clothes every day. She looks good. So now with both pieces inside out, you're going to slide that bit of the bottom bit into the top, and you can just see me do this. It's just easier to see than for me to explain it. You're going to fold over that top bit and pin it in place. Make sure the top is sitting right, and you're going to sew a triple straight stitch along the pinned edge, and this is going to attach your bottom to your top, and your dress is essentially complete at this point. That triple straight stitch, I think I'm in love. I might actually have to call off my wedding. Anyway, one more thing. I'm going to do this off off camera though, we're going to bind the bottom of the dress. That way everything looks nice and neat and beautiful. And now your dress is ready to wear to the couch, to binge watch Netflix and eat snacks while you look like a snack. There is nothing that beats that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed making this dress with me. This is going to be my summer dress, and I really hope that this year is different and I can actually wear something out at some point. But hey, you know what? Whatever happens, it is what it is. We have to just take each day as it comes and not stress too much about what we can't control. So thank you so much for your company. I really enjoyed having you here. Let me know if you're going to be trying to make this dress. Let me know if you actually wear anything other than pajamas at this point, because I've been trying to look cute on some days, but other days I just show up looking homeless, and that's the best I can do. And that's completely okay. Not everyday glam, but not everyday bummy, hopefully. You know what I mean? It's called balance, baby. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Remember, you are more than enough today and every day, and I hope to catch your beautiful face in my next video. Until then, stay safe and see you soon. Bye, guys.